Alexandra Swift, Super Sis by Joy Noyes, illustrated by Judy Love, and this is a part of the Alexandra Swift series. Super Kid. My brother is Superman. Well, this week he is. My mom says, very authentic, McKinnon. You look like the real thing, but she doesn't have to walk him to school. The cape isn't too bad, and I have nothing against the red sneakers, but then he adds bright red underpants over his sweats. I love my little brother. I just don't want to be seen with him. You aren't wearing that to school, are you? I asked. Somebody's got to protect Mrs. Jones from the bad guys, he told me. If you take that off, I'll let you wear my goggle-eyed glasses with the mustache, I said. But he was already leaping tall sofas in a single bound. Well, I think you look ridiculous, I shouted after him, but Mac doesn't care what other people think. That must be nice. He flew off to school, and I had to chase after him, forgetting my lunch as a result. I knew people were staring at us as he stomped on ant criminals and leaped off curbs, but I looked straight ahead and pretended not to notice. As soon as I saw a bunch of kids in my class near the buses, I stopped and let Mac go the rest of the way alone. Then, from up near the door, I heard, "Hey, dork baby, what are you wearing, diapers?" It was Marvin Kroll. Marvin's only a third grader, a year older than Mac, but he's famous in our school. He's always in the principal's office. If you ask me, he spends his time there thinking up more ways to get in trouble. Mac yelled, "Kapow!" and threw a Superman punch to the air as he passed Marvin. Then he swooped inside the building. I probably should have walked him to the door. On the other hand, how else was he going to learn? "Hey, Allie, isn't that wacky little kid your brother?" Seth Johnson asked. Seth was the coolest boy in my class. "What kid?" I answered. Super mess. The next day, Superman flew out of the front door faster than a speeding bullet and yelled out stuff like, "Kerblooey! Take that, bad guy!" Then he laughed and danced around. Being a superhero makes you really happy, I guess. Chasing a superhero makes you forget your math homework. At school, Mac raced around and around the playground, his arms pointed straight out in front of him. I stood there pretending not to notice, which was hard since some of my classmates were snickering and pointing. Suddenly, I heard a big oomph, and the next thing I knew, Mac was sprawled, face first in the dirt. I didn't know exactly how he fell, but Marvin Kroll was standing over him. "Hey, watch it, super baby! You ran into me," he sneered. "What happened?" someone asked. Seth shrugged. "Kroll tripped that little kid. You know, Superman," he said. Another kid laughed. "What a weirdo." Everyone nodded, and then they started talking about something else. Mac didn't get up right away. He sat up and adjusted his glasses. I didn't think he was hurt. He was Superman, right? But I was no superhero. It was my teacher, Mr. Howell, not me, who yelled at Marvin and then helped Mac up and walked him to school. Super sis. I hoped that maybe Mac had learned something about kids in school, but the next day it was still Superman who came down for breakfast. So I said, "How about being Clark Kent instead today? How about being Clark Kent instead today? Superman is Clark Kent when he's dressed like everyone else." He wrinkled his nose in disgust. "Clark Kent wears a tie," he said. "But Mac," I reasoned, "don't you want to play with your friends?" "Superman has lots of friends," he said. "They fly around and save people. You just can't see them." Then he added, "We'll save you if you ever need us." I felt like such a rat. I had just stood there while the other kids laughed too. I was too embarrassed to help my brother. Not so super. So even though I didn't have a phone booth like Superman, I made a quick change. I ran my fingers through my hair until it was wild. Next, I slathered a lot of makeup on my eyes so they looked big and flashy. Then what I needed were fat bracelets, the headband, and just the right t-shirt. Wonder Woman! Superman greeted me. Off to school we went to fight for truth and justice. This time I forgot both my lunch and my math homework. Mac practiced his x-ray vision while I threw thunderbolts with my awesome Wonder Woman bracelets. It was pretty funny to see the surprised looks on all my friends' faces. Seth Johnson was smiling, in a good way. And all I had to do was stare hard at Marvin to make him behave. I'm a head taller than he is, after all. If you leave out the forgotten lunches and the forgotten homework, Mac and I had a pretty super day. It's just too bad I also forgot that it was the day for class pictures. The end.